Hey, everybody. I'm not on the show because I'm so late that I didn't set up my video. So I will do that shortly here.
Yeah.
So we were riveting conversation. It was fabulous. We learned about wind farms in Germany and solar power and all kinds of cool shit in the pre-show that we're not actually going to share with you. We're just going to tell you we talked about it and screw you all. You can just figure it out on your own. All right. I love when
that's not because we don't want to talk about it. That's mostly because we also drifted into politics, and we really can't talk about that here.
We talk about that shit.
We can't.
Divisive. But... Yeah.
Well.
Anyway, welcome to the welcome to Pusher Talk.
Are you ready? Okay.
It is Saturday the 17th of February.
I'm in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there we go.
I am the pillar of this. I am Usul. I am the pillar.
You did that damn sharp, damn fast as well.
That was, well, I have it bookmarked, I mean, yeah. when you design shit that works, it just works, McLoud. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
so
the idea. Did you just say that shit that works actually works? That is the most Apple thing you have ever said.
Apple sucks. Sorry.
Well, yeah, they do.
Okay.
I mean, in terms of Apple talk, I think all the Apple talk that's been going on has been about the Vision Pro. And I loved the sort of who was it? Who's the guy who does the the not penetration testing, but like the scratch testing and all that kind of stuff on phones.
Hey, Mac, I just want to point out, bashing Apple is almost as divisive as talking about American politics.
No, 69% of the world is Android.
Yeah, but
so globally,
nice.
I mean,
nice.
In the United States, yeah, it is
69.42.
It's like 69.41 or something.
Who did that statistic? Elon Musk?
If Elon did it, it would have a 420 in there somewhere.
Yeah,
that's why it's 69.42.
Yeah. Hey, Dirk.
Who invited that asshole?
Funny thing was, yesterday we were talking about
funny thing happened on the way to the forum. No, sorry.
That way or somewhere else.
It's nice for Dirk to be here, so I can ask him in person if he's done the changes to the Anger Games rules yet.
Oh, I was out last night.
Okay. Right.
Were you at the pub
last night? But you were out at regular, normal human hours, not really eccentric kind of strange time zone hours.
It was Kanto with some family friends. Got back.
Yeah, you've unfucked your sleeping pattern, I guess, to some degree.
Most.
Oh, good.
So I looked at, according to Stat Counter Global Stats, 69.94% of the phone market share is Android. 29.32% is iOS. Samsung, when they had their own phones, is 0.36. Unknown is 0.16.
How much is Microsoft?
I'll get there. Kyocera, K-I-I-OS, I don't even know what the hell that is, 0.16%. And Windows, 0.02.
Yeah. You gotta say though,
software company.
It is surprising that those 0.02% are still running.
I'm just like, I probably think there's probably more BlackBerries still in use than there is Windows. I mean, for crying out loud.
Maybe it's larger than that tiny percentage, because half of them, are still trying to turn their phones on and off and on again.
I don't really know. I mean, when Windows phones came out, I was like, okay, so I have to reboot my PC all the time. Why do I want to reboot my phone all the time? Right? I mean, just sitting there going, no to the Windows phone. No.
Yeah.
And by the way, I love Windows products. Okay. I like Microsoft's cloud. I think that's a great design, especially for everyday people, small business people. I think that Windows 11, Windows 10, they're great. I love Windows apps, Excel, Word, all those top-notch stuff. So, I'm not anti-Microsoft. By the way, they are the #1 cloud network in the world, right? They are bigger than AWS. So Windows is great, but not a Windows phone. Oh yeah. Let's
Okay, so Kyocera.
Yeah.
Apparently they're a company that built their operating software around digital services that are enabled 2G connections. They're basically their entire company premise is 3.7 billion people in the world have no internet access. That's nearly half of the world's population, and that
sounds like a
significant part of what is doing that is that data plans, smartphones are very expensive, and so there's not really much opportunity to tap into internet connectivity.
So I know that I know that one area that's getting a big boot up the arse in terms of connectivity and sort of more of the population basically being having this capability is sort of some of the areas in where is it, Africa, right? Even potentially utilizing some of those technologies for voting, sort of actually democratic kind of voting services, that kind of thing. So it could also be that kind of area that they're doing stuff.
They make their own operating system. They partner with various companies that they've got like examples of it running on Nokia, Alcatel, some of the more hard-wearing like Cat, which is a company that I primarily know as a company who make big digging equipment. Apparently, also
construction stuff.
Also have branded their own series of rugged smartphones. And yeah, the idea is that they have a bunch of options for like far more lightweight applications that can run off 2G slower mobile internet and kind of give people access to services. Have you that? So, fair play to them.
Yeah, definitely, dude. That's cool. I didn't realize they had they were, I mean, you are talking about like the global kind of market in that regard, so you have to be fairly big even to sort of have a presence on those statistics, right? And so having a presence even, when you're sort of such a niche level, group of markets like that is pretty impressive.
They've got some interesting stats. Over the course of apparently they founded the company in 2016. Actually launched first products 2017. So they've been going for a little bit less than a decade. Apparently over that time period, they've got 175 million devices worldwide. They've shipped to 108 countries around the world.
Cool.
Delivered 898 million hours of internet usage a month on average, and 64.63 million gigabytes of data delivered per month across their user base. So, those are some not small numbers for 2G and 3G kind of low level connection.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. Nice. Well, that's something I didn't know until today. Azure's growing quite fast now, apparently.
Nope. Hey, wait.
No, if you look at AWS, right? AWS has really been stuck in that 10 to 12% growth over quarter, year over year. Where you look at the other three in the top four, and they are all 25 to 30% growth.
I just noticed.
And Microsoft came in. Hold on, Microsoft came in with 1.9 billion in quarterly increase. Microsoft was only, or Azure or AWS was only 1.1 billion. And if you were on the earnings call, Mr. Jassy could not figure out that 1.9 billion was greater than 1.1 billion. So he was either saying Microsoft was not a cloud provider, or that 1.9 billion is less than 1.1 billion. I'm not sure which. It was interesting, right? Oh. AWS has the market share, but doesn't have a bigger market share than Microsoft. So that's the challenge. Yeah.
Are you streaming this?
Yeah.
So you can't stream in the offices.
What?
Apparently you did not watch the Mark Azariah video.
No, I did not.
That's gone way over my head.
So I'm an average.
Wait. McLoud, the one who linked us that video, does not know what I'm talking about.
You expected McLeod to watch the things he was linking?
Yeah, exactly. What the fuck?
Yeah, kinda. Yes.
The hell?
You're so 2010s.
I guess Dawn isn't here. No. Mike did a video from the CSM meet. Like from the actual room where they're meeting. After the meeting was done and all that. And he wanted to go outside to show everyone the sword collection at CCP, right? He comes out the door. He has 1 foot out the door, and he's already being yelled at by a complete random if he's streaming, and that he can't stream in the offices. And he's like completely confused at that point, right? He wasn't actually streaming; he was just recording. Which is fine. He wasn't live streaming. But yeah, this like
people are extremely sensitive to the fact that there's NDA stuff in there.
I am 100%. I'm 100% sure the guy yelling at him was American. I'm not sure if it was one of the other CSM making a joke. That's possible. But it was definitely an American, because I can tell you, no European would call you sir.
Oh, I call people sir and Mr. and Mrs. all the time.
Yeah, we Europeans
all the time
wouldn't do that.
Although,
you'd know it's a Brit because the first thing you would say is "Oi."
That may or may not be followed by something a little bit degenerate in common parlance.
Like a W followed by an anchor?
Hey,
no, more like fuckface.
Oi, dickhead.
Very much in the style of Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, no.
Jiffy has identified how the Australians would yell at you.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, seriously, the only time I've ever called somebody sir in any serious fashion is when I was being incredibly sarcastic in service jobs, and you're there going, "Sir, if you really need to stop this now."
You're using "sir" as an insult.
Yes.
If you're being stopped and in the street or told to like not do something by a Scot and he's being polite, heed that as a fucking serious warning.
This is your check yourself before you wreck yourself moment.
Yeah. If you were being polite to you to stop you doing something, that is a fucking red flag for you to stop doing.
There's a lot just anywhere around the UK. If somebody's being polite to you in the street and you don't know them, it's a warning.
It was hilarious to me because Mike actually explained to him, no, it's just a video, and the guy goes, "Oh, nice, now I'm in this video."
It would not be unusual to be in a business meeting with Erik and he call you Mr. or Mrs. or Sir or ma'am.
No, well, I think the context that Dirk kind of missed a little bit there was if it's just a random passerby, stranger on the street sort of thing that isn't employed by a business that's, that you frequenting or that you're next to or in. If they're actually, if they're a member of staff in a place and they call you sir, then that's fine. But if it's like a random person on the street that's telling you to stop, to not fuck around, then, if they're being polite, they're really, really trying to emphasize for you to not fuck around.
So you can't park here. Yep. Saying that to someone whose car is upside down at the moment.
So it'll be, excuse me, mister, I would not park there if I were you. All right.
It would not be unusual, especially for me, if you were just some rando on the street or somebody I was talking to somewhere in a non-business setting, for me to call you sir or ma'am or any of those things. It would not be unusual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just genuine respect.
You there. If you're trying to just get somebody's attention without
yes, sir, you can't steal that.
You.
Yeah.
That's a little different, Commander Dirk.
Oi.
Yes.
What the fuck do you think you're playing that?
I don't think I have ever in person used the word sir.
Yeah, it would not be unusual. If if the three of us were in Vegas and I hit the door first and held it open and let you guys come through, after you, gentlemen, or after you, sir, would not be.
The worst thing about that is when you hold the door open for somebody and they go through and you're like, I feel like I've done a good thing for the day, and then the next person comes through as well, and then there's a fucking crowd and they're just holding the door open for basically fucking everybody. You're like, for fuck's sake, I broke myself.
Well, not a single one of them will thank you for it.
No, yeah, maybe the first one who saw your good deed, but the rest are just like, nah, this guy just this guy didn't realize what he was doing. I'm just gonna go.
Yeah, I mean, if you're if I'm the third guy gonna walk through, right? I'll be like, why don't you go through? I'll grab the door here. And you go, and I let you go through, and I'll hold the door for me, and I'll hold it so that the guy behind me or whoever grabs it. Right.
I see that same kind of that same sort of annoying behavior happening on the roads as well. You let somebody, you slow down, let somebody overtake a parked car, for example, and then the fucking car behind it decides to do the same, and then the fucking car behind that does the same. And at some point, they're going, either I'm stopping or I'm going to crash into somebody who decides that, they want to squeeze through.
That they are more important than you. That's really what's happening.
It's annoying.
Or they don't know why you pulled over, right? You could be just pulling over.
Not pulled over, but you're the car on the other side of the street, basically letting a car overtake and go past that parked car.
Okay. I
don't, and you get those people behind that kind of squeeze through as well.
I don't know what the laws are in your countries, but the number one law in traffic in Germany is
you wait if your side of the road is if you have to go round a car, you wait until it's clear.
No, you have to be considerate to everyone else in traffic. That is the first law of driving in Germany, an actual law, right?
Yeah, I mean,
consideration for each other.
Consideration is good, but I don't quite know how that law particularly works when you get to a roundabout. I gather you guys have roundabouts, obviously.
Well, whoever is in the roundabout has right of way. That's it.
Yeah.
If you're inside the roundabout,
for us because we drive on the left, it's always give way to the right, because there's people coming around from the right hand side, which obviously is reversed. If you drive on the right hand side, it would be give way to the left.
But not in a roundabout.
Not in the roundabout.
Again, in Germany, if you are inside the roundabout, you have right of way.
Oh, okay.
You basically have that here as well because you are.
Yeah,
supposed to
that's
give
kind of
way to
what that
oncoming
is.
Traffic.
Yeah, that's kind of what that is. The only other thing that I know is essentially a rule, which a lot of people break all the fucking time, is if your side of the road is congested, or you have, like, say for example, have a parked car that you have to go round, and there's no room, you have to actually go to the other side of the road in order to do so. You always wait for that side of the road to be clear before.
Yeah, we got that
don't,
traffic.
Yeah. Give way to oncoming traffic. People obviously do that thing that I said, can be kind of annoying, where people slow down, flash their lights to kind of say, go ahead, mate, kind of thing. And then you get those people behind those people who you've, said, who you've let go through, who decide to sort of go through as well. And that gets fucking annoying. But,
So we don't have very many. Yeah, we don't have very many roundabouts in the United States.
I've seen
rare.
videos of Americans dealing with roundabouts, and it's fucking hilarious.
So where I vacation in Hilton Head was really the first place I ever encountered a roundabout. Okay. Now, granted, I was 9, but and there are two big ones
on a bike.
No, there's 2 big ones on the islands, right? I mean, they're not big, but it's the biggest roundabouts we've ever seen, right? And the big joke on the island was always the people from, and by the way, audience members from Ohio, just understand, it's just a joke, okay? All right. But a lot of people come from Pennsylvania and Ohio to go to Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. And the people from Ohio, when they would be asked what kind of car they drove at the Greg Russell show, they would always say a blue minivan, because that was the predominant minivan that came out of Ohio. And by the way, you would always see in the Sea Pine Circle roundabout, right? Like blue minivans just going around and around and around and never getting off because they could not figure out how to get off the Sea Pine Circle roundabout, right? So it's kind of the joke, and 30, 40 years later, it's still kind of the joke, right?
Engage indicators, turn steering wheel.
Oh, dude, don't use the I word.
I like when I'm the quarter round on the roundabout, man. I don't even have to get into the main line. I just take the quarter out line, man.
I feel like I'm the only person who fucking indicates before I turn rather than as I'm turning.
But you didn't drive a BMW.
People just assume that that they've communicated their intention of where they're going to go by ESP or something to me.
No, and my dad is a horrible offender of that, McLoud. Okay, he's like, turn signals are for tourists. I'm like, you're a fucking tourist on this island. Okay, I mean.
Turn signals are for survivors.
Turn signals are to communicate to other people who can't hear you in your car what you're going to do.
Yeah.
It's polite.
It is. I got to say, though, it's hilarious to me that it is a universal truth between all countries that BMW drivers don't have turn signals.
Yeah, somehow.
Well, it's... In recent times, and I'm saying in the last decade, it's also included Audis
clarify,
as well.
BMW car drivers.
Okay.
Yeah, the Audis are also a bit prickish.
They're becoming that. I think.
See, the Audi drivers are usually just assholes.
Okay.
From my experience.
Aren't these 2 like the national car of Germany?
Yeah.
Okay. Just checking. Just checking. By the way, I like Audis. I'm not a Beamer fan, but I do like Audis.
So for Mercedes, it's they are either a driving mummy, going
what's a driving mummy?
Like someone who's so old they should have handed over their driving license 20 years ago, going 20 in the 50 zone, that kind of person.
Gotcha.
Or they are someone who will overtake you in a corner when it's 70 and you're already going 80.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like It's those two extremes for Mercedes drivers.
A blind corner over a hill as well.
Yeah.
Oh, Hasitude just rated us with 5 folks. Hey, thanks, Hasitude.
Cheers,
By the way,
also
I want to. Oh, he did say this. I missed
the sub. So thank you very much, Sadus.
Yeah. By the way, I do have like 2 or 3 traffic circles around me now. But also, I wanted to address Commander Starscream's turn signals are optional in New York. That's because New Yorkers have and by the way, New Jersey people have very unique turn signal. They just throw their arm out the window, like probably their left arm. They flip you the bird and say, "I'm moving over here, going this way." All right, or I'm going this way.
I'm driving here.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Starscream, tell me.
There's a level of these turn signals are optional because you're all moving so slowly that it doesn't matter.
You're not going to kill somebody if you hit them.
I gotta say, I have seen some hilarious turn signal usage, especially from the US, where someone is indicating left and then turning right.
Yeah,
that shit is always amusing me.
I will say though,
they're using their other right. That's all they're doing.
Exactly.
They're just using the other right.
They meant the other left.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Mike, you say you seem to be the only person who sees turn signals.
I feel like that's the case.
And that's a fair point. But I will make just a quick little anecdote. Last December, my sister and I went up to see some family in Scotland on my dad's side of the family, and we were coming back, and we're on this dual carriage A road, and she's driving at the time, and so she flicks the indicator on to go round this guy, and then cuts back into the lane once she's overtaken him. She's moving a bit faster, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Guy comes past her with his indicators on, and then leaves his indicators on for about the next 3 miles. Then he realizes
he's a deaf old guy. He can't hear, and you're making fun of him.
Yeah.
He realizes he's got his indicators on, turns his indicator off. About another mile and a half down the road, she comes past him again. And, another minute or so down the road, he comes past her again. With his indicators on. And then leaves his indicators running.
I think he's...
And this happens about 3 or 4 times. And on the last time we go past him, before we turn away onto different roads, I chance to look out the window just to, see. And if it had been an old guy, I wouldn't have bat an eyelid. But this guy looks about as old as I am.
It's just,
and so everybody has a frame of reference. That's how old? 10, 12?
That's just shy of 30.
Okay, so you're a young dude. Yeah.
So,
See, I've experienced
the guy who shouldn't know how his indicators work.
I've experienced the whole overtaking the same person multiple times kind of thing. That almost ends up being like a motorway game in some way, shape, or form at some point.
Dirt frog.
Yeah, you say that thing.
You say that, but I should show you how the indicators on my bike work. Because it's a BMW, and BMW likes to do their own thing for indicators on the bikes. Basically, you have a knob on the left side that you can push left and right, depending on where you want to indicate. And then you have a knob on the right side that you can push in to stop the indicator.
Well, normally indicators in cars have a
can you not
kind of
a
latch sort of system that essentially when you turn back after turning, it latches in and turns the indicator off and such. That's kind of how it works in regular cars.
Yeah, can you not just
so it's
turn the knob,
weird
push the knob the other way to make it stop?
Nope, you can't.
Which idiot designed that?
That's weird.
Actually, after having driven that thing for 10 years now, I actually prefer it that way. Because you push the other knob in and 100% that the indicator's off. Because
that's
sitting on a motorcycle, you cannot hear the indicator depending on how fast you go, right?
I get that. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, I like I mean, what kind of car do you think Erik drives? Brand. Just pick a brand.
Fucking Chevy.
No.
Erik, you're probably in a
you drive an Escalade,
Toyota
don't you?
or a Kia or something. One of their sort of SUV models, but not.
He comes across on the stream as like all cheery and smiley. He's actually like a, he's a vicious person and drives an Escalade.
Like,
no.
I'm not seeing you driving like the full pickup, but like
no, I'm not pickup
an
guy.
SUV style
fucking Dodge truck
SUV
or something.
SUV.
Okay.
Pick a brand. It's not Kia, but yeah.
Ford.
I drive a Subaru Ascent. That's and I've driven. I now have driven 2. I like those. They're very nice. And by the way, it's so we can truck 18 million cheerleaders around, right? I used to like Kia.
Truck 18 million cheerleaders around.
I got a competitive. I got
with a cheerleading crew in the back of his truck.
My daughter's a competitive.
Pom-poms going.
Oh God!
No, there's no pom poms in competitive cheer, guys. There's no pom poms. Okay, they don't have pom poms. Okay.
See,
these girls are tough. They will kick your ass.
I they're not practicing in the back of your.
No, they're not. They're not.
See, what I like about Subaru is that when they say their car is something, it actually has the features for that, right? When they say, hey, this is an SUV, then it has a differential and all that jazz, right?
Yeah.
Because they expect you to go off road. Because why else would you buy an SUV from them?
Yeah,
right?
but I would not drive the Ascent off road, but you could. Yeah, but I just wouldn't. But the one thing I like about Hyundai and Kia, okay, because Erik is the anal retentive. I use my turn signal. I stop at stop signs, even if I'm the only guy stopping at the stop sign, right? I mean, it's just how I drive, right?
It literally says stop. You are required by law to stop.
I know, but a lot of people just drive right through, like, right?
People do the same here.
I do that.
That's the German part of him.
The thing that I really like about the Kias and the Hyundai is if you do you just do the tap on the turn signal, it'll flash 5 times, and then it'll stop. Subaru only does it 3 times. I wish it did it 5 times. It's like 5. But it's the only way I can change lanes. Otherwise, the auto driving wants to keep me in my lane and fight me. So you got to use your turn signal on the highway, right? So
my Kia only does 3, I believe.
Yeah,
it's not like
driving.
It's not like I use my turn signals a lot, right? My drive to work is straight on for pretty much the whole part.
Yeah, we gave my last Kia to the boys. It's 2017. It's still beautiful. Runs great. It's awesome. But, we do things like, we always change the oil, right? And all that stuff. It just keeps them up so well. Now, the wife, what do you think? What do you think Mrs. Erik drives? I'll give you 2 things. Okay, give me the brand and give me the type of vehicle.
Oh, what's the brand that American? I always find it hilarious that Americans pronounce. It's not Mazda. Is it Mazda?
Mazda? No. Yeah, but a lot of people do use Mazdas. People love Mazdas.
My bet is on a Roadster.
A Roadster?
Yeah.
No.
It is not an Acura, Sadis, but you're kind of close.
I'm not saying Roadster.
Is she a member of the Corvette Club?
Estate car.
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like a.
I know somebody who is a member of the Corvette Club, though.
Yeah.
Honda's getting warmer, but no. It's probably the Acura's closer. She does.
Mitsubishi?
By the way, she drives a Lexus, and it's a hybrid. Okay. Hybrid Lexus. Now, the reason she got the Lexus instead of
I have
Kia,
a hybrid. It has an electric starter motor.
The Lexus was like $3,000 more than the Kia SUV that she wanted. I forget the Kia SUV, but they were charging like $5,000 or $6,000 on top of the regular list price for the car for Kias when she bought this car. And I'm sitting there going, doing the math. Okay, this Kia, which by the way I thought was a tin can at the time, and I'm a Kia fan, right? I just didn't think the doors just didn't have any weight. They just felt too light, like little tin cans when you closed them. It was SUV. I'm like, here you go, get the Lexus for like $3,000 more. I said, and it's a hybrid, so go for it. And she loves it. So it's probably the two most expensive cars we've ever bought in our life. We used to be very avid used car purchasers, but the last 3 cars we bought have been kind of new. So, but the Subaru Ascent, it just drives so nice, guys. It's just a nice drive. I mean, it's not like a Continental cushy pillowy. If anybody's driven a Lincoln Continental, but it has a nice control, nice drive on, and they're both all-wheel drive. So
it's smooth, right?
Yeah, and yes, Lexus is Toyota's brand, and I've never had a problem with the Kia Commander Starscream. I've had very good luck, so I have nothing bad to say about Kia. In fact, if you go with the Kia Palisade, which again they were charging an arm and a leg for extra, the Kia Palisade compared to the Ascent has much better legroom in the 7th seat. It just does. But and by the way, the cameras on the Kia Palisade are cool as hell, because when you turn your left or your right turn signal on, where your odometer or speedometer are, it gets a circular camera out the blind spot on that side. Just right in your dash. I do like that too. That is really nice.
Blind spots are a bitch.
Yeah, but it's really the 6th seat. Because when you're got a bunch of kids in the car, that 6th seat having the extra legroom kind of would have been nice. But when we were choosing the first time between a Subaru Ascent and a Palisade, I think they had more room in the Palisade. Again, they were charging. They wanted 6 or 7% for the financing, and they really weren't discounting at all. And this is pre-COVID. They weren't discounting at all. And I walked into the Subaru dealer, 0 down, 0 everything, 0%. I said, I'm signing that document, right? 0% and 0 down, versus 6-7%. That was crazy. I thought they were insane at the.
They probably were.
Hyundai. That's a Hyundai, I think. That's a Hyundai. Palisade is a Hyundai. But yeah, it was just kind of crazy. So yeah, so I remember the car make that Americans always pronounce in a really fucking strange way, and it's Nissan, or as the Americans would say, Nissan. Nissan. Toyota. Nissan. Yeah. Mazda. I had a friend who was a big Mazda fan. I was not. I'm not a big Honda fan, although I owned a Honda, which was great for me. Probably the worst car I ever had was a Chrysler Sebring, and I bought that one new too. That was one of the rare new purchases. But when I get it inspected, it was always $300-400. Something was always wrong. Tire iron, something. I think it was bullshit, right? But I mean, I had my last Subaru for 3 years, and I turned it in on a trade almost as much as I bought it for, like $2-3 grand less than what I bought it for. It was crazy. And that was in 2023. I just got it. Last year I got probably the first 2023 model of the Ascent in Pittsburgh. And I'm a red car guy, and now we have two, like, a gray and a black car, which is, shit to try and keep clean. But,
hey, at least it isn't rusting.
Oh, thank God. But Kia's hold up for the rest pretty well too.
Oh, no, he's talking about Teslas.
I'm talking about.
Are they? See, I don't buy Teslas. I never would buy an EV.
He's talking about the stupid Cybertruck. The first ones are already rusting.
Are they? Oh my god!
Yeah, the steel plating is rusting at the moment. Like
did they use recycled steel?
That they made most of the frame out of.
Yes.
It's not that stainless as it happens.
Well, it's not. If you use it from recycled steel, the challenge is that recycled steel has rust in it, right? And that's just you can't.
It's
I
more
don't think
about
it's recycled steel. It's just low grade.
Yeah, it's low grade.
And I think the rusting, as far as I know, the rusting is only really happening on the outer plates.
Yeah, it's the
not
doors
the actual. It's not the actual It's not the actual superstructure.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think I don't think the DeLoreans are rusting yet, right? So they were
no, because those are that's high quality stainless steel.
I go back in time as well. So
it was the cocaine they used to buff them shiny on the outside. I think I think that's what it was.
If DeLoreans start rusting, they just go back in time to the point where they're not rusting.
They do.
Fine.
To a time when there is no rust.
Fire up that flux capacitor, baby.
Woo! I need some, beer and banana peels and, half a pineapple or whatever the fuck you put in there and a hot dog. I don't know.
Right. Oh, I don't want to be that guy, but do we want to talk about some Eve?
Oh man, we got like 8 million Eve things.
I specifically labeled this show as Eve adjacent.
Did you really?
I mean, Soft wants to talk about some art.
I actually did, yeah.
We can talk about some Eve. Come on.
I did.
I have some really light topics this week compared to last week.
I did label the part of the show's name is Multiboxing Good or Bad because of
should I bring the conversation
going on.
I really want to go into the first topic, which is a real big. Oh, really? You don't say for me. That apparently sound being turned on is responsible for half of the RAM usage.
No way.
Oh fuck.
Which I like. That is really for me as someone who has done some programming and who knows a bit about game design. Right. It's really a no shit you don't say because
it has to utilize resources.
Should I go to the Eva's Dead Reddit or the botting Eva's Dead Reddit, or where do you want me to go, boys?
Sound of the RAM usage post is
like the fourth one down.
Well, I have no idea.
For those people unaware, for Eve to correctly do the sound while you're in space, it has to know the position and distance of each ship that is producing any sound, right? So if you're in space with like 200 ships around you, that's data from 200 ships, right? With different directions. And then it needs to do the math on how loud each of those sounds has to be, right? That is a lot of calculations. And so it's not surprising that it has that much of an impact on RAM, which is why ever since Eve has existed, people have told you to turn off the sound in big fights, right? Well, Eve does not have sound for that reason.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question?
The thing is that go for it.
There's no fucking sound in space.
Okay. That is not true. There is sound in space. It just doesn't propagate because there's no medium.
Okay. If I'm in space and I'm watching Formula One or NASCAR, there's no fucking sound. Okay.
Well, it depends.
I mean, it depends. It depends on how you want to propagate that sound. Like, if you propagate that sound in a way that isn't using air, then you can have sound because, obviously, you can send.
No. There's some details.
You can send radio waves through. Like,
there's some details we
that kind
need
of
here,
stuff.
Eric. Like, how are you watching your NASCAR here? Are you watching it in your spacesuit, kind of beamed onto the helmet plate of your spacesuit? Or are you watching it on like a projected image thing?
Hey,
it goes
there's
even
a-
further.
there's a-
If you are outside in space in your spacesuit and you have your TV in front of you, your space station is next to you because you're just cozying up to it, and a microasteroid
Cozying up.
just punctured the hole and all the air is coming out, then there's a medium in between you and the TV, so sound can propagate, right?
Yeah, this is true. But you know, it's the sort of thing where, like, if you hold your TV and you're out in space and it's radiating sound, you will hear something through the gloves, and it will radiate through the spacesuit. So, like, you don't need a gas; you just need some way for the source of the sound to reach your ears.
Like, I just like. I
no
just
one
want to
can
kind of
hear.
utilize.
No one can hear your frozen little face scream. Okay, it's space.
So interestingly, there is a method of being able to listen to sound from a long distance away that has been used for, as a tool for spying for a long period of time, which is basically utilizing lasers. And so you essentially fire what is a laser higher than the sort of visual spectrum at a, say, for example, a window, right? And if you can, so long as you can get the bounce back on that laser beam, you can determine whether the window is actually vibrating and be able to translate that vibration back into sound waves. That doesn't require, that does not require air between your laser, the start of your laser and the actual kind of window, right? So
no, it just requires being able to measure the fluctuation.
Yeah, there's a way and a means to be able to have sound propagate through a medium that isn't air, or that doesn't have air. It just requires additional sort of instruments, and
Yeah, so to get back to the whole bit of half your RAM usage, and this guy is literally saying sound is half his RAM usage. This is also, that point that Soth was just making about the game has to calculate where everything is and what it's doing, and also how loud it should be. This is also why, when you are in massive tie-dye fights, really want to avoid using things like drones and fighters, because every single entity that comes onto the grid, into the fight that you're in, adds to the additional calculations on both your side of the, your client side and also the server side, which is why this massively increases tie-dye. It's a calculation limitation. There's an algorithm for it where n equals n squared or something. In terms of
it's a factorial thing. It's a factorial thing. So the additional in adding an additional actor to a scene means that you don't just linearly add an amount of information exchange between all of those. Like you, it's not exponential, but it's a factorial of it. Like
but not exactly anymore. Since Brain in the Box, CCP
there is some of that,
can group things like drones into like packs, right? So not each drone will send information, like a whole group of drone will send that information.
Normally what I'm talking about, normally what
I'm
talking about is a new character, like a new player.
But this is the sort of thing that, like, it's the same principle that increases your tie-dye situation and makes things run more slowly. Yeah, that adding sound to that just increases the amount of memory required to hold all of the details for the calculation.
Yeah,
it's a very similar principle.
I mean, CCP has had to deal with this as well when it came to missiles, right? Because there was a predominant situation where we loved using missile ships, and some of the reasons for that was because missile ships performed really well. But in other instances, yeah, exactly, but in other instances, we used, like like our enemies, all that kind of stuff. Like everybody used missile ships purely on the basis that we knew that it would degrade the server performance, right? And CCP has done a lot of work in optimizing that to sort of not hit performance of the server as much, but missiles are still missiles at the end of the day, right? Yeah. And if you have sound on, you will notice that if you come close to a group of missiles that are being fired off, or the trajectory, you will hear those missiles. So that is your client working out the sound in relation to where your where your camera is. So
this doesn't apply to gunboat, just the missiles, by the way, because gunboats are instant application.
Yeah,
whereas missiles actually have a consistent position in space relative to the launched ship and the target, so they can always associate sound to that relative position.
I really don't have much to say on this because I really wasn't aware that other than the music, Eve had sound.
Well, so this is the thing. It's kind of like you'll know a veteran player from if you see how their client is set up, because one, they'll probably be running lowest graphic settings because they just can't be asked changing it back from low settings, because they had to put low settings on because of a big fight. And chances are that you have sound off because they were optimizing their at some point they were optimizing their client to work with multiple to either get more performance in a big fight, or to optimize for multiple clients, right? And so they just haven't turned sound back on again, or they just don't see the point of putting sound back on again.
Yeah, so I will say there's a couple of things there that I think are mistakes if people do them. I mean, depending on what you're doing and your playstyle, right? I would always say, like, if you're in big fights, definitely turn your sound off. You are not going to need it for the really big fights. However, I've always found myself turning it back on afterwards, because my sound settings are very much optimized such that I don't hear anything but like local effect. So like a wormhole effect. I will have sound on because if I sit an alt on top of a wormhole and then close that client down, I can hear if something triggers that wormhole.
Yeah, that is a very good use case.
There's a couple of like little things that are, once you do them often enough, you definitely, like, it's worth having sound on for certain acts. But yeah, big fights, Eve does not have sound. You don't need it. Don't want it. Just
the funny thing is, this does kind of work its way a little bit towards the whole multiboxing or not kind of thing, because like my bugbear with multiboxing is it's just I mean, we've seen various different aspects of multiboxing, but like one of the things that I like about games that don't really like, I wouldn't say force, but like encourage you to use more than one client, is because the stuff that you have to do for the game is quite busy work, and so you require all of your senses.
But I was also just going to quickly say, I do think turning things down to lowest graphics settings, what have you, again, big fights, it's great. I think it's a mistake not to turn the graphics back up if you can, because credit where it is due. CCP's art team have managed to turn it into an incredibly pretty game.
So, I would actually go even further and say, if you have a moderately modern graphics card, don't even turn them down, even for the big fights. In my experience, you don't actually gain any performance by turning it down.
No, right? No. A lot of the big fights, your FPS is really strangely, and I don't know whether this is intentional by CCP or not, but like a lot of your actual the amount of FPS that you get in client in big fights is determined by the response of the server.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird.
the
it's not
bottleneck
actually
is
that weird.
the
when you
bottleneck in
consider
Eve
how it works,
is
but yeah.
the network,
Yeah.
right? So if the server is responding slowly because it is overloaded, then you can have a fucking 4090 and you still will only get like 10 FPS.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's
so
crazy.
like there's a ton of really pretty stuff out there in the universe. Not just ship skins, although obviously ship skins, some of them are fantastic.
Especially tandem
like,
ship skins.
I don't know if you've ever. I don't know how many people will have actually taken a minute to like stop and look at a temperate planet. Actually, just stop and look at the planet rather than trying to do some silly PI that should be a mobile game already. Please, but like, just look at the planet, and they're actually like kind of detailed.
I love the fact that it has moving like temperate planets, especially. They have like moving cloud layers and stuff like that, like that move independently and all that jazz. Like it's really cool. There's also there used to be a thing when Dust was connected to Eve, that if you were close to a planet that had like an active Dust game going on, you would see small explosions in like the sort of like the town district areas. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm hoping that as and when Valkyrie.
Oh yeah,
Valkyrie.
no,
Vanguard.
Vanguard.
As and when Vanguard kind of forward a bit more seriously, and they do start including some of that Eve to Vanguard interaction, rather than just having the Vanguard to supporting Insurgent interaction. I hope we will start to see more of that kind of little details on a planet in an Insurgent. You might see like little bits of fights happen or what have you, and I think that could be really cool.
That would be pretty awesome.
But yeah, so you wanted to kind of swing that towards multiboxing a little bit, and
well, a little bit. Like, I kind of not too sure what my sort of transition point was in that regard. Like, it was very much a fleeting transition point as such. So I've kind of forgotten where I was going with that. But hey, you know, we can talk about multiboxing, or we could, you know, discuss some of the other kind of stuff.
So I've read that Reddit thread that is now up. And I kind of felt like there was a glitch in the Matrix, because I swear we have talked about this before with someone making this exact same thread. They came back after years not playing Eve. They went back into faction warfare because they always wanted to check it out, or they always liked it, or whatever. And they found it infested by bots. I swear we have talked about this exact same thing before.
Are you saying that you think it might be a copy pasta?
No.
It might even be a copy pasta. It might be a glitch in the Matrix. I don't know. But I am sure we have talked about this before. So this is not a new issue.
It is the proverbial black cat.
Come back. Yes.
It is the proverbial black cat that's standing up and, you know, shaking itself. The glitch in the Matrix.
Yeah.
And I mean, this dude's talking about, you know, 35k players. So, roughly speaking, they're about right in terms of where each player base kind of hovered the last few months.
Well, I would say he makes a good point here.
There's a lot of presumptions.
That's not the Eve player base. That's the Eve character base.
Yeah, that's the characters online. Yeah, and so you have to adjust for number of real people. You know, you take a look at, for example, Goon Swarm. With it, I'm not even going to try and pull a number out of my ass here. I'm going to go check Dockland quick.
To Dockland we must go.
Goon Swarm currently has 42,434 characters in according to Dockland. And when you actually take a look at our forum numbers, that equates to like somewhere between 9 and 11,000 like actual individual forum accounts last I checked.
No, it's 9 or 11 forum accounts. We just have really good PCs.
We're all Zungan. I mean, this is true. We're all Zunganolds.
Well, I mean, we don't need good PCs because we have sound disabled.
There you go. Ding.
We're just running it on a massive like EC2 cluster instance.
And no, EC2 clusters have I/O issues, and they can only go to 96.
Yeah, I know.
Really took the one PC 7, 10 gamers, one PC kind of thing to heart.
Well, it's still only one gamer.
But yeah, so like in that sense, that's sort of roughly four and a half account per player. If you kind of average it out across the Goon Swarm alliance. So then when you talk about 35k players...
There. I need to point out that some of those characters are on the same account.
Yes. And you're not wrong. But what I'm kind of getting at there, as a rough average, 4 characters per player, when you then start to apply that to a count of 35k characters online, 10k real people actually doesn't start to sound like it's too far out of the realms of possibility.
It's a good estimate. I give him that.
So yeah, on that front, like I would suggest there's a level of there's a lot of people accounting for some of the rest of other people's average. There's going to be a lot of people out there with 1 or 2 accounts instead of 4, 5, 10, 15.
I mean, we personally know people who have in excess of 100 accounts.
Yeah, well, I have enough accounts that I need a spreadsheet track of which characters are on which account, what they do. But yeah, so it's one of those things where, in terms of online characters versus characters you own as well, as you say, you only have 1 character per account online at any one time, even if that's you've got 3 characters in the alliance on that 1 account. So it does sort of drag that average characters per real player active down a bit, I think, again. So you'd probably be talking about 15. I'd say there's probably still easily 15k real people online for a 35k player.
So interestingly, if you do a bit of digging, CCP actually put a graph up that's in 2022 of alliances versus with it doesn't in true CCP fashion, they didn't actually sort of annotate the axes very well in any kind of way, shape or form, right? But it gives you a kind of an idea in terms of relative perspective on the amount of ults that the average amount of ults that people in certain alliances have, and the amount of time that they play per member. But
do you want to throw this up?
I'll chuck this in chat, but you can also throw that up in if you could chuck that up on.
Erik has decided to tune out. Erik, there's a picture we would like you to put on the
staff
screen,
only,
please.
if you could.
Sure.
But it's also there in chat as a link.
Also, hi Brisk.
Hey,
yes,
Brisk.
Dirk and I do play Eve. Mostly on a Thunderdome though.
Yeah,
not sure that counts.
Now we play on the PvP. Now we mostly play on the PvP server.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna aggravate a few people calling it that.
But yeah, so this image that we've got up here, you can kind of see. I mean, you can tell this is an older image on the basis that there are some alliances on there that no longer exist. Long live the Bastion, for example. Out there in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's definitely interesting to sort of see. All right, the bottom axis is currently cut off on the, but the bottom axis is number of alts per member.
Just follow the green line as the little line, at the bottom goes from left to right, increasing. Coming around, don't worry, guys.
Yeah, obviously average total log-on time per member. So I don't know how they've really calculated real people for this. It's a bit of hodgepodge.
I would say
pulled numbers somewhere.
I would say that is, a very I don't know. I don't quite know, but it's probably going to be very rough estimates.
Yeah, they probably went by. They probably went by email address.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But those older alliance names up in the top right with more alts per member and also a lot of average logon time per member. Compare that down to some of the smaller alliances like Strybog Clade or WeForm Blob, sort of hovering around that first third or so.
And then almost to the right, like almost at Goonsform, you see Tactical Narcotics Team. That's just Wibbler alone.
Yes. Yes, it is known that TNT is basically just full of Wibbler roll. That's not even really a joke, actually. Somebody has found Razor in all of this. I want to give them. I want to give them my condolences for finding Razor.
Actually, found Razor as well. They are bang in the middle.
Oh yeah, just slightly further down than the Bastion.
Yep. I also love that you can immediately find Hidden Leaf because their name is so long.
Well, this was back before they lost a bunch of AT chips. Right? Never going to live that down.
I'm not sure if this chart, if they would do it today, would include lock-in time to Thunderdome.
They could probably figure that out.
That would be kind of cool to see which alliance puts the most time into tournaments.
We should ask for some stats on that at the end of AG.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Also, it would appear from early reports that our good friend and OnlyFans champion, Brisk Rubal, has been promoted.
Oh no!
Oh, I'll rest in piss.
My sympathies.
As they say.
There has been a rest in piss Brisk Rubal ping.
Dear.
So, good luck and Godspeed, Brisk Rubal.
Well, welcome to the big leagues where the janitors are required. Clean up the piss.
I did not have the ping up. So I don't
get the pings anymore.
Yeah, me
sadly.
Neither.
So why?
Well, no, that was your decision, Sothmore.
That was my decision. Yes, for me it was my decision.
So why do we have a rest in
my
piss,
alliance
ping?
My alliance made that decision for me
because Brisk has been promoted.
I am currently...
dumb motherfucker, Brisk. I love you. I do. I do love you. But holy shit, no.
I'm currently trying to identify.
You know what, Brisk.
Promoted to.
Brisk. big Italians, little Italians, get the hell off the grass, or however they do that, man. Woo! God help you. You
Right.
walk with him.
Looking at the clock.
Yeah, what time is it?
So
holy shit, it's 2:12.
So yeah, apparently, and I gotta say that this way because I don't log into TQ. Faction warfare is still rampant with alts. There's apparently people running entire faction warfare fleets, which is 10, by the way.
But this is, I mean, even though this is rampant and this is basically making a mockery of something that CCP tried to, and did for a good period of time make it, a very entertaining and enjoyable kind of aspect of EVE. Obviously, it's less enjoyable when you have, roaming gangs of obvious, like really fucking obvious alts running things.
And that's fine
with absolute
right?
impunity.
Running alts is fine.
Yeah, I'm not saying that like it's suddenly it's some kind of change to the norm, because we've always had people running alts of things. Like people ran entire incursions with like an army of alts and stuff like that. Like
as long as people are actually doing all the inputs manually to each of those accounts, that is absolutely okay. What is broken there is the game design, not how people run it, right?
And that's kind of that's sort of where I wanted to go with the conversation of this is, is it good or bad for EVE? Well, you can kind of say it might be bad because it's leveraging people's wealth and basically creating a means that wealthier people can create a lot more ISK a lot faster by using alts, because they have the ISK to be able to leverage that capability. But also you also have to have that kind of that mental capability of being able to control a whole number of things at the same time. It's more kind of in an RTS sort of fashion than somebody who's more inclined to come at a game like an FPS.
But on the other hand, if they would improve the design on the faction warfare stuff so that you wouldn't be able to run a 10-man fleet on your own there, then you could, like, you would stop people doing that, right? You would actually push them towards engaging with other people, which is kind of what an MMO is about, right? Engaging with other people.
Exactly. It would be better if more people engaged with more people rather than people engaged with their alts, or one person engaged with another person, or 10 people or 10 alts of the same person engaged with 10 alts of the same person, right?
So,
like it'd be better if it was 10 completely different people engaging with each other.
See, the problem I see with this is when CCP does this, they usually fail to adjust the rewards. Right.
They use a stick approach rather than a carrot approach.
Yes. If you adjust the mechanics so that you are no longer able to do it on your own without interacting with any other person, then you need to adjust the rewards, right? You need to reward people more, because now there's a higher barrier of entry for it.
Yeah. There was a member of the initiative who used to be a CSM member called Malcanis. He coined a law, which is whenever a mechanic mechanics is changed in whenever a mechanics change is proposed on behalf of new players, that change is always at the advantage of richer older players. And a lot of the times when it comes to sort of addressing these sorts of issues of multiboxing and people abusing multiple accounts in order to actually leverage something, normally CCP comes in with some kind of change that they say is on behalf of new players, and then it invariably ends up being turned around by richer older players utilizing alts to make an absolute shit ton of money out of it. CCP are always falling foul of Mal'Canis' law. The issue, the only way that I can see you kind of break this idea of, or this capability of being able to use multiple accounts, is to make the activities be to have a high click rate, right?
Not necessarily a high
amount of action,
but...
high amount of actions per minute, that kind of thing. Something that requires a lot more attention per character, per activity.
High attention is what I would use there.
Yeah.
If you look at the what's it called again? I forgot the word for it. Where you go into a different kind of space with God damn it. The gated ones.
Oh,
Abyssals.
Abyssals, yeah.
Abyssals, yes.
Yeah.
If you go in those, it is really hard to multi-box those because you need to pay a lot of attention to each of your ships, right? And it is actually high reward. So I feel like Abyssals, aside from taking you out of the space and putting you out of harm's way, aside from that part, I think Abyssals were actually good design. Right, they went in the right direction. The problem is that they took people out of the shared space doing it. Right, if they had solved that, I think Abyssals would have been good for the game.
I think it would have. Although, Abyssals aren't completely immune to multiboxing, because a lot of people have done the whole trio of frigate multiboxing, right?
Yeah, and do a duo of destroyers.
I'm not saying they are absolutely immune to it. They just make it very hard, right? You can still do it.
It is a better direction for.
But you have to be a lot more active about what you're doing.
Yes,
exactly. But the other thing is, I think, when it comes to sort of designing mechanics around this kind of idea of more action, larger amount of attention for those, for a specific thing, is so long as they can kind of be understanding of how much attention you need to do this sort of thing, you should almost create, and I'm gonna hate people are gonna hate me when I use this term, but like create almost like an attention economy, and not in that sort of form, but like in the form of, a large amount of attention for a set period of time should constitute giving you a certain amount of money in game, right?
Yeah.
If you require a large amount of if you require a lot of attention for a set period of time to do an activity, it should give you a certain amount of money. Whereas if it requires a much smaller amount of attention for the same amount of time on a per sort of character basis, or per sort of character that's doing it basis, it should be giving you a lot less, right?
I mean, this is kind of what happened with the Rorqual change. Pushed people in Rorquals into space. Like, nobody was necessarily unhappy with the Rorqual changes as proposed initially, right? Like, okay, you want to make these big expensive ships. You want to make them a bit more capable, yes, but also you want to be putting them at more risk, because before the Rorqual changes, what would you do with a Rorqual? You would put it in a pause, and it would sit there for 23 hours a day, and it would go nowhere other than back to a station to dock up and refuel. If it even left the pause and you didn't bring the fuel to the Rorqual instead. Yeah. Right?
It was a safer version. It was a safer industry version of off-grid boosting, essentially. Like that, but that's kind of what it was. It was off-grid boosting. Like, but you could do it in a pause. But the thing is, you could do it inside the pause rather than just outside.
Well, at the time, funny you say that. At the time that this change all kicked over, I was in a corporation that was very heavily industry, and they had a Death Star pause set up in which there was a rock wall in the pause, giving you all the mining boost, and then outside of the pause, there would be a Claymore and a Nighthawk, I think it was at the time. And the Claymore and the Nighthawk were set up to give you maximum boost, basically.
Well, that was after the first rework, because before that rework, you could just park them in the pause too.
Yeah, no, this was after the first rework of it. But they would literally, the ships would sit there 23/7 pretty much, and just either be sat in the pause in siege mode, or rotate around 5 kilometers outside of the pause. And like I say, this was a Death Star setup. Its entire purpose was to protect these system-wide boosting. So getting them away from that kind of setup, definitely a good move in my mind. But it was definitely that bit where CCP went from they moved these ships onto a grid, and they gave them some extra capabilities, and those capabilities that they were given were heavily complained about because they were way overpowered, and we all saw this after about week 1 of having Rorquals and excavator drones.
Yeah.
But CCP never quite realized there was a really fine balance to that. Get things out there. If things cost more, you should be able to make a little bit more money with them, yeah. But also, you shouldn't be able to just sit there and semi-AFK it for 5 hours at a time, right?
If it requires almost no attention, it shouldn't really bring in a fucking shitload of money.
But it did at the time.
But it did, yeah. And that's the thing.
It broke a lot of economy.
Yeah, the thing is, that's what we were railing against, about the fact that this was ludicrous because you could scale it so much and you could make a fuck ton of money out of it, or you could bring in so much material that you could build a ludicrous amount of stuff with it, sort of thing. It wasn't a case of you're forcing us to put things into space. No, that was not the issue that we had ever.
I mean,
the issue was that we were basically for an almost AFK activity, we were making a fuck ton of not money, but we were making a fuck ton of materials to make a lot of stuff out of.
Yeah, it's that bit where that was entirely why, and we as players have paid for CCP's own mistake with CCP decisions like scarcity and the capital industrial changes to add all of these different materials from everywhere ever onto T1 capitals, right? CCP just, they made a mistake, they didn't fix it, and then they decided to punish us as in an attempt to fix their own mistake. I mean, 5 years too late.
That is
well
true.
Done.
In the interest of potential balance on this particular topic, I do want to sort of say that all the various there are definitely areas of multiboxing in the game that are detrimental to the game, but there is also aspects of multiboxing that I've very much enjoyed, and most of the time it's been because I've wanted to push myself as a player, and also I've wanted to provide additional utility to my friends and to my corporation and my alliance, because we don't have as many people in our alliance as the people who were fighting, for example, right? And in that kind of sense, multiboxing, or the capability of being able to multibox, is really fantastic, right? There's some elements of for example, I'm sure anybody here who has multiboxed didn't get into multiboxing because holy crap, I can just spin up XYZ amount of volts and abuse this particular mechanic, right? I'm sure most people kind of first experience of multiboxing is either providing additional utility to their friends, to the people who they're flying with, or because they got into the capital kind of gameplay and having an ult to put a Sino where you need a Sino was kind of a necessity, right?
And the thing is, you can't get rid of all multi-boxing, right? There are some scenarios where multi-boxing is just inherently necessary because of how Eve is played. NFC, for example, will never trust some random to scout for them. NFC will always want to have eyes on that outgate themselves, right?
Yeah.
Which means you need an alt for that.
I mean, there's a level of, have I had people in my fleet historically, you know, people I know who've done this multiple times, haven't fucked people over. Will I, like, let them take over the primary, the primary
people you know
scouting,
who
right?
people you know who knows how to do it. Like, you know, it's if you're entrusting somebody else with an Insino for a super cap fleet, you know intrinsically that person does know how to bring in or put the Asino in the correct place, or you do it yourself.
Yeah, but it's that bit where, like, that's not say you will never trust somebody else, but it's one of those things that it's limited to trust somebody else.
Yeah.
And certainly I would always have a secondary alt of my own kind of following the route as well.
Because of availability, right? Because that person you trust to do it might not be around.
Yeah, you're never entirely certain, and you always have to have some degree of fallback, right?
I mean, there have been various points where I've had 7 different characters of my own in the same fleet at the same time. Because, okay, here's my Titan, here's my Titan Sino, here's my FC ship, here's my 2 scout alts at various places across the route or the target, and here's my backup FC ship, and here's my backup FC ship, because I don't have a secondary FC to hand off to if both of those die.
Yeah, and I imagine you probably have an outsiner or 2 logged off somewhere as well.
Yeah, you know, but it's that bit where, like, there are points where multi-boxing does just make you more effective in a role.
Yeah,
For sure.
It definitely does. Like, I mean, and that's what I mean by, you know, multi-boxing isn't all negatives. There is a lot of positives to multi-boxing when it comes to playing EVE Online, right?
I want to point out, the FC example is actually a good example of how it should be, right? Because you only have so much attention you can give to it, and the things you are doing require a lot of attention, right? So you are limited to like 2 alts, maybe 3, right? You are never running more than 4 characters at the same time when you're FCing. Probably you are only running 2 to 3. Because as soon as you try to do more, you stop being effective.
You're certainly not effectively running more than 3 actively, right? Like,
yeah.
In my example of, like, Titan and Sino and whatever, the Sino is there cloaked, waiting. It's been preceded, and it's just there for, like, this is the job it does, and then chances are I completely forget about the Sino character, and it dies. The Titan doesn't ever actually move. It just sits there waiting to bridge.
I'm just going to say that in the initiative, it is a running joke that Pando always loses his, like, scout / Sino ults.
Yeah,
it is a rite of passage for recon members to lose a recon to a boss.
Yeah. And especially if you've got, like, a scout alt that you've got sort of on a grid and it's cloaked up. If you accidentally get uncloaked by something, chances are it dies before you even realize it was uncloaked.
It's that you haven't quite, you know, paid enough attention to where your like what's going on with your Sino alt, and you've realized that somehow you accidentally double clicked in space, and it's approached a gate or something, you know, and the only time you've realized is because it's decloaked and it's actually being blown up.
See, that is exactly what happened to the first super I've ever killed.
Oof.
Or that's what we think happened, because there's a lot of stories around that super.
It just decloaked randomly on a gate or something.
It was one of my first boat fleets, and boat got really excited, Boat got really excited and warped us somewhere. And the whole thing about we're gonna shoot a super. But from Boat, which is usually means you're gonna shoot a pause, right?
Yeah.
But this time it was actually a super that got decloaked in the middle of nowhere. And the story that came out was that his girlfriend was cleaning his PC and accidentally uncloaked his super while cleaning the keyboard.
I mean, I could potentially believe that, but I could also potentially. I feel like it's more likely that a cat jumped up on the keyboard and just like walked on the keyboard and decloaked it as well.
That was the other story he came up with, which
See,
tells you that it was that he probably fucked up because he came up with like 3 or 4 different stories of what happened.
Yeah, it's either that there's one, or it's if you come up with multiple, then you are reaching.
Yep.
He wasn't reaching when he said he had a girlfriend?
Well, that was.
Who knows?
I mean, I'm sure there were a few people in chat that were like, "That's sus," straight away.
So it was his girlfriend who decloaked him. His left hand.
No? Oh, there we go.
The left hand's the mistress, the right hand's the girlfriend. That's what I've heard.
Chill.
Yeah, we should have seen that coming himself.
Girlfriends would absolutely clean your keyboard with the game running. Absolutely.
They probably wouldn't even realize the game is running.
But
like, that
the other thing
happens. It's fine.
It's just some sort of moving screensaver, right?
If you have a girlfriend who's dusting your office and your keyboard and stuff like that, you're winning. I'm just going to point that out. You're winning. Okay? Winning. Okay?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if she's the living girlfriend or the visiting girlfriend. If she's the visiting girlfriend, you're really winning.
This is where we ask Eric how long it's been since somebody else cleaned his office.
Well, since there's 3 of us that use this office, there are 3 of us who clean it, but my wife is not one of them. However, one of my college roommates would call his girlfriend and tell her to come over and clean our dorm room.
And she just did?
Yeah. I would come home from class. All my dirty clothes would be neatly folded on my bed, which had been changed, new sheets washed, everything. I'm just sitting there going,
what the fuck?
How? By the way, he'd call her up and tell her to come over and clean his dorm room, and then you'd hear her yell at him because she lived off campus. She'd yell at him. You could hear her yelling at him. And he goes, "You'll be over. I know you will." And he just like hang up the phone. And by the way, it wasn't like he was rude to girlfriends. He was very nice to girlfriends, but he did call them to come clean the room. But I couldn't believe it the first time. I'm like, man, you were in so much trouble because I knew this girl too, right? And I'm like, and she's nice. I can't believe you just did that, right? And he's like, she'll be over to clean the room. Don't worry, right? He looked like Bart Simpson, by the way. He did. So we called him Bart. He looked like Bart Simpson. He had the hair, and he was kind of pale. He was a really nice guy. By the way, he was in my wedding. And he got the garter, and my sister got the bouquet. So he's sliding that garter up. We've got pictures funny as hell. But yeah, he looks like Bart Simpson. We called him Bart. By the way, we would drive because we were in an urban university. Okay, so we're driving down the road. There's students everywhere, right? And he would ride with his windows down in the summer and the air conditioning on because he could. But if he saw a cute girl, he'd just hit the horn real loud, like, boop, boop, and then she'd look up and he'd wave like he knew her, and she she waved back, right? But he did forget the whole called his girlfriend and she would come over. Not like every week, right? This would happen like once or twice a semester, okay? Yeah. So it wasn't like, but when he took them out, because he worked through college, right, and scammed his dad a lot for money, and and he would always treat them really nice when he took them out, and he would hold the door and all this stuff, paid for everything. So he wasn't like the classic asshole or anything like that. He wasn't. He was actually nice to girls. I'm trying to figure out if my sister dated him once or not. I don't know, but who knows?
Weird.
Who knows when they went out?
Calling someone up to like just, oh yeah, can you come clean this? Like,
No, not random. It was his girlfriend.
I mean, well, yeah, but you know what I mean. But like, if it was someone who professionally cleaned something, yeah, I get that. But like,
no,
it's just fucking weird.
Yeah. U4D, right? Not that it was only cleaned once or twice a semester. That he would call her to come clean the room, right? And
if she's getting something for that, then fair enough. Like,
yeah, but she's
quid pro quo sort of scenario, maybe.
I mean,
we're talking college here, by the way.
Now,
after all,
there was a time in college in my freshman year we actually had a suite. So there were 5 of us, multiple bedrooms, kitchen, all that stuff. And my girlfriend, my freshman year, before we went home for winter break, helped me because my roommates didn't really clean it up and we had to have the place clean. She helped me clean. I was the last one to leave, but I didn't like call her up and make her clean. Like she's like, I'll help you clean. I'm like, thanks. Okay. And we're cleaning everything. But this was just a dorm room. Right. And, it was a big dorm room, but yeah, it was, there might've been a battle that, maybe an Uncle Ben's box of rice might've been being used as a football the one time I specifically remember. And it might've cracked open the box during fooling around. There might've been rice all over our floor. There might've been. I can't confirm or deny, but
that's the least horrible thing to clean up I can think of.
I know.
Yeah. You can just hoover that up.
Yeah, I know, right? I know, but still, right?
I'm wondering with your friend, like whether it was a case of where it was a coded way of like a booty call, like can you come over and clean my place, and the first time that happened, he was like, oh shit, you actually did clean it, like what?
So.
No, because she lived off campus. So if it was booty call day, he went there, right?
Okay.
But dude, Uncle Ben was banned for racism. Hey, it was a brand of rice. I can't help it.
I had this once with my roommate. For her birthday, some of her friends had the grand idea to fill her entire room with bottle caps. I don't know where they got all those bottle caps. It was probably like 500 of them.
Oh wow!
We kept finding bottle caps years later.
Did they do that sort of thing of like putting bottle caps in like weird places and stuff like?
No, they literally came with boxes full of them.
Oh,
and
it wasn't just like placing them like nice and evenly. It was just literally a box.
Yes.
Just chuck the bottle caps everywhere. Yes. Oh, okay. That's also for somewhat reminiscent of like when somebody glitters like someplace, like you'll find glitter randomly everywhere for like years to come. Like that's kind of one of the reasons why glittering somebody is such a fucking annoying. Like it is the worst thing. Well, I wouldn't say the worst thing, but one of the most annoying things to do to people.
When I worked at the Supercomputing Center, glittering was a thing, right? And you would take somebody's desk drawer and you put the glitter in the desk drawer, and then you put, a piece of cardboard on a rubber band and wound it up. So when they opened their drawer, it released it and would go brrr, glitter fucking everywhere.
Oh well, the one of the great ones is when you're sending a card off to somebody, putting the card in.
Oh yeah.
The spine of the card, like at the bottom, and then just pouring glitter in and then sealing it up.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I can contest that enough glitter will short out a deck 5000. It will.
I think Dirk wants to talk about one more EVE topic, and I think it's the Timber skins.
No, I was just going to
who
interject
is
real
this?
quick on
No,
this
who
topic.
is this? Who is this Dirk? Who the fuck is that? I don't even know who that is.
I just wanted to interject and say we have confirmed with Britt Screwball what his new role is since he was promoted.
Okay.
Britt Screwball is apparently now going to be co-director of the Ministry of Truth.
He's co-director of
alternatively known as the Ministry of Truthiness.
Okay.
Seeing Fountain Frank
we hear
new CEO of the Ministry of Truth.
By the way, Push to Talk has a long history with Mini True. Okay, remember we used to debut all of Mini True's stuff on this show back in the day.
Yeah, what happened with that?
I don't know.
They stopped. Mini True stopped releasing. Videos.
That was back in.
There was obviously
break.
There was obviously also the stint through Vietnam that Mini True were releasing things, and Meta Show were definitely promoting it as well. So
fuck Meta Show, Brisk. It all comes through Push to Talk. You know that.
RMT Records, like that.
RMT Records, baby.
Music at the minute.
Well, and when Marconius was in charge of it, right? Marconius Pork Butt, if you guys remember him, right? He actually, and he still lives here. He's here in Pittsburgh. Married. He's got kids, man. Shit. Wished him happy birthday the other day.
Dude's been chatting in the old, in the Karma Fleet stuff. He's like back around a bit. As Pork Butt.
I'm just saying, fo, baby.
We should chat to seriously and get us a new song.
He should do.
Yeah, I'm sure. Considering
seriously,
specifically, Soth, you enjoy creating new lyrics for various different songs.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure you've got a few ideas that you can send his way.
I actually do have a few ideas.
Can we have a can we have a Push to Talk theme song? Am I seriously? How do we get that? How do we make that? Cool. One that we can play, right?
That's always the kind of.
That's gonna be the harder part.
Yeah, that is.
Well, that just depends on how
you just have to...
interested Erik is in seeing how long it takes us to become not a family show.
What you do is you just have to make a low-effort version of that, upload it to YouTube, and then see if it gets content struck, and then you kind of go, okay, we'll have to change it a little bit more.
There you go.
It's an annoying process. I will grant you that. That is a fucking annoying process.
Well, the songs I'm thinking about, they are more in the punk, post-hardcore direction.
Oh, okay.
So,
I'm sure we can do something with that.
You're not.
I like it all. Cheetah.
Have we actually? I know that I know that there's a Bohemian Rhapsody version.
Yes, that's the one I wrote. Yes,
which I will say, fucking congrats on that one. That was fantastic, by the way. I'm wondering whether there's any Eve parodies of Journey, any Journey songs.
Ooh,
because that might be pretty cool.
You know that cover of Worlds Apart.
Mm-hmm.
You know the one I'm talking about.
I think so.
I know there is one.
Yeah, I don't remember the names of the two vocalists. But yeah, that cover of Worlds Apart, with Eve lyrics, yeah, hell yeah, let's do it.
I was thinking something more like, the theme song from Anything Goes.
I'm sure there's also a lot of
we could do anything. No. Yeah, let's do something. But yeah,
I'm sure there's a lot of retro kind of electro-y songs that we could kind of do as well.
Let's do the music section. Stuff. No, kind of. It would be. So the song competition for nerds. Revenge of the Nerds.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You've never watched the movie Revenge of the Nerds?
I thought that was an oblique. I thought that was an oblique film reference.
Really? Hold it. You've never seen Revenge of the Nerds?
I was
I don't
zero
think so.
at that when that was released.
Oh well, go look at the song competition at the end.
Oh, if it's that old, then I've probably seen it in German instead, and the title is very different.
Nerds. But at the end, so it's like, fraternity against fraternity, and they got their fraternity sorority combination in there. They do a musical number. We should get seriously do that musical number, because we can then inject all our names into it and different shit about us. By the way, I can't believe the audience. Yeah, Revenge of the Nerds.
This is where we ask Seema to be involved in the lyric creation.
I'm in to help create lyrics. Call me up.
Seema, I know you're probably listening. You need to come and talk to us, apparently.
What's happening with Brisk? Brisk got promoted to a new job in Mini True, and now he has to do real work.
Right.
Weirdly, I think that...
We got 12 minutes left, and I really want to show off these skins from Tamba, so...
Oh! Do we have that in the little thing here?
Yeah.
It is there, yeah.
I believe it's the last link.
Tell me if I got the right one here. All right.
There's a preview one that Soth did, but a little higher up to that, there's like me saying
the
more Tamba
last
skins.
link in the block.
Yeah.
Note that these aren't actually. Just a quick note: these aren't skins that are.
That's
actually
the wrong
in-game.
link.
They're not.
That's the wrong thing. Wrong
They're not
link.
announced or anything.
That was Soth going, hey, hang on, is there a new ships coming or whatever? And it was.
I relinked it in stuff.
I think I might have lost my Discord connection. No, I couldn't have. Where the fuck is Discord?
I mean,
we can still
we
hear
wouldn't
you.
we wouldn't be able to hear you if you had, yeah.
I know. Here we go. There we go. There you go. You happy now? Happy now?
Content. Let's put it that way. I'm German.
I like these. These are cool.
Yeah, these are Tamba going crazy.
All right.
Skins.
Okay. This here is.
I'm not sure whether some of these are actually real or like.
This one is the I'm going surfing one. This is surfing. This is I'm a girl surfer. And this is gnarly surfer version, right?
You're about like 15 seconds ahead of us, right?
Yeah, I know. But
I just want to point that out.
From the voice, what we can see on the stream.
Right. But the other folks will hear it in live. This one could kill someone.
I
have to say, I actually.
I really like the.
I really like the Dazzle camo stuff, like unironically.
The Navy, the Fleet Thrasher, that one is really nice.
Yeah, the Fleet Flash, the Fleet Thrasher one, yeah, definitely.
Black and gold.
The Dazzle camo stuff, I actually really like. Not that one's like the ones that specifically are called Dazzle camo.
Yeah, so
all right. This one's saying this is the gnarly dude. Gnarly.
Yeah, that's the Fleet Thrasher.
I like the Louis Vuitton. Seriously. There we go, Louis Vuitton, baby. That clearly looks like Louis Vuitton.
The next one's the Dazzle camo one.
Yeah.
One of the Dazzle camo ones, anyway.
I like that. I actually like this color, the Puncturus. I mean, these are
good old Puncturus, yeah.
Yeah. I never met her, but she always seemed pretty cool.
Yeah, she was.
The collection of EOS skins are a lot of fun. I'd love to be able to like fly the green and kind of pink one for an.
I would like to put out a request. if Tamba ever hears this, because we see so many Galente ships, and to be fair, there is a good amount of Amar ships and stuff, but like Sothel still really wants some angel ships, some different and interesting kind of angel ship skins, like.
Please. I mean, I could just tell Tamba. It's not like we don't talk.
Well, you know, I thought I'd say it on stream. You know,
whenever Tamba's up early enough and has some time,
I do like
the show. So
I do like the last image of this of the thing.
What, you mean the bit where we suddenly see Convict having no clue what the hell's going on with his googly eyes?
Yeah.
I would like to note that that's a screenshot from an Eve video that they made, I think, in 2021, and that is Convict's face just before or just as he's told he's about to be sacrificed to a volcano.
Excellent.
Which, when you actually live in Iceland, that's quite a concerning thing to hear.
Especially recently.
Especially recently.
I mean, did you actually watch the video from Mike Azariah?
No,
was I the only one?
I think you're the only one.
Right. So you should definitely watch the opening, because he's it's kind of special when you fly to Iceland when there's a volcano eruption, because it's like you're seeing this light, these like streaks of light, and you're thinking, oh shit, I have to find two short dudes to carry the ring to Mordor.
To throw a ring into the
fire. Wow.
All right.
You come off the plane and they ask you questions like, so business or pleasure? Have you brought Frodo? Oh crap.
Yeah, because if you've been to a Nordic country, you know that we are in short supply of short people.
I brought the ring to be sacrificed. Where are the ring bearers? Have you hidden them in a trench coat somewhere?
Pocket of a trench coat.
They're very small then.
They're small. Very small. Well, all right. Well, hey, we're close here to one last thing.
We are very close to one last thing.
I think we have to start now, because Dirk's probably got one that lasts at least 4.5 minutes. So
I got a quick thing.
Okay, you go first, then Dirk.
I don't believe him.
If you got an account for Thunderdome, then and you want to do some shooting in Eve today, Jinton is actually doing his solo queue today in USTC.
Ooh.
I actually don't know what the times are, because he put a converter on it.
Give me 2 seconds and I will tell you.
23, that should be 2200 ETH time.
I
think.
2200 ETH, yes.
All right. So yeah, if you have a Thunderdome account, if you don't have one, then you should definitely request one if you want to take part in these, because you learn a lot, not only about tournaments but also about flying ships in like small gangs, and they are a lot of fun.
Like, you don't need to pay anything to get a Thunderdome account or whatever. You just need to sign up at the form in our Discord, or form somewhere else as well, I think.
Yeah, it's probably linked in the tournament channel on the CCP Discord or the Eve Discord.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Right.
That was my last thing.
All right, Dirk.
I am just gonna go ahead and use my one last thing as a general kind of bit of reminder for people about different meetups coming up in the next little while.
Oh,
There's a whole list of things happening through May. I'm going to run them down real quick. Go and Google and find the Reddit posts or whatever yourselves. But on March 2nd, there's EVE London happening in the UK. On March 30th, there are 2 events happening across the world that I know of. One is happening in Leeds in the UK. The other one is happening in Montreal, which is over in Canada. On April 13th, April 13th, EVE Glasgow is happening somewhere. April 19th to the 21st is EVE New Orleans. That's a big one being planned by a few people and has a couple of bits of like dinner events and things that I'm aware of. And then finally, last one I want to run on for the next couple months is EVE Madtown, taking place in Madison, Wisconsin. And that's happening on May 4th. So there's like,
May
6
the
different
4th?
events coming up in the next... Yes, on May the 4th.
All right. Let's all go to...
Get your lightsabers ready for that one.
You said there was one in New Orleans, as they say now.
Yep.
New Orleans.
That's,
Man, go get
April
your...
19th, 21st.
Get your crawfish etouffee and your beignets and your coffee with chicory, baby. That's Mrs. Eric does not like the coffee with chicory down there, but however, Eric likes it. So the beignet place is amazing. Last time we were there, though, she ate like every dinner crawfish etouffee. Loved it.
But yeah, so like if anybody in the crowd is interested in seeing some nerds chatting about life, the universe, whatever.
Nerds.
Go ahead and check those various places out.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Bob?
I've got a couple of things actually.
Right.
One thing is, if you've noticed up on the top of the screen, the stack up stuff, like the channel is basically helping out a charity called StackUp. It's essentially a charity that helps American and allied veterans, both active and retired veterans, basically helping them with dealing with a whole bunch of various different things, utilizing gaming culture, geek culture, and that various different things, basically sending them some care packages and all that kind of stuff. If you would like to assist in that, there is thankfully Dave actually put the sort of the command in chat, which is !StackUp, which gives you some information and a link to help with the donation drive that we're helping out. So if you're interested in that, then definitely check that out and donate. That'd be fantastic. Other than that, thank you to our subs today. Thanks to Sadus. Thanks to Divine Cola. Sorry we missed it when you actually did sub. Sorry about that, Divine. And thank you very much, Froggy, for that, as well as to Hazitude for rating us, and obviously all of our followers who followed today. So thank you very much for that. And I think the only kind of one is there is going to be a meta show today, and in actual fact,
yay!
It's going to be a fairly stacked meta show because it's a CSM Summit review show, and they've got 6 of the 12 CSM members on the show. So
they're stacked.
Yeah, they are stacked. It is going to be a full show. There's going to be a lot of stuff, important stuff being talked about there, and that'll be coming up in literally exactly 1 hour from now.
As Monty Python says, they've got huge tracts of land. Sorry,
huge tracts
of land on the meta show. Yeah, covering a lot of. They're covering a lot of acreage there. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Sorry. So I have a very Pittsburgh centric one last thing for those in the area and those who love hockey. The Pittsburgh Penguins are honoring, as the rest of the world knows him, right? Jaromir Jagr, right? He's been playing hockey for a long time. Great hockey player, but as we as we came to know him here in Pittsburgh, Jaromir Jagr because we can't pronounce anything right because we're from Pittsburgh. Jaromir Jagr. Anyway, tomorrow is Jaromir Jagr Day, and they are retiring his number, which is one of the very rare things to do for the Penguins. So I think there's not many numbers that are retired for them. So yeah, so it's cool. He's in town. He's been hanging out. I think if he played forward for the Pens, he'd probably be a top 3 forward on the team. So, even at his age, he's great. He's played hockey forever. He's still playing. So I think he owns a team over in Europe somewhere. I'm not sure.
Probably.
He owns it, but he definitely plays. So yeah, so congratulations, Jaromir Jagr, on Jaromir Jagr Day tomorrow. That's it. That's really all I got. It's kind of cool. And
I found it funny that, just a little quick thing. I found it funny that this week there was a Reddit post about EVE Online podcasts, and we were barely mentioned at all.
Yeah, what's up with that, people?
I thought that was fucking hilarious.
What do you mean? Like they talked about push to talk?
It was. Guys, are there any podcasts out there that talk about EVE Online, etc., and people went through like various different podcasts and this, that, and the other, and are they still, or are they still doing stuff? Are they not? Oh no, they've died, then they're gone, etc. There's no more podcasts from these people, etc. And Brisk was there, obviously saying, meta shows, etc. You should go check this out and all that. But like, there was barely, I think somebody mentioned us offhand at one point, but like there was basically no mention of Push to Talk, which I thought was fucking funny.
Do we know who that somebody was?
Hang on, let me just do a quick fucking find.
So what you're saying is
it was a guy called Silver Fox.
So Brisk didn't mention us. Thanks a lot, Brisk.
Yeah. Brisk didn't mention us, but he runs Meta Show. I can't knock him for not mentioning Meta Show. Like,
oh no. By the way,
if you're going to talk about INN chat shows, fucking talk about them. Don't just pick your one.
By the way, I'm laughing
because him about it. I can't be asked
because I'm laughing because
thank you very much.
I don't really
thank you
care
very much. I'm just going to say thank you very much, Silver Fox.
Silver Fox.
Yeah.
Showing. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much the show for this week, huh? I will not be here. McLoud, you're in charge next weekend. I am going to be actually. I'm going to be at a bachelor party, either at Disney or Universal, Star Wars, whatever the fuck we're doing. I have no clue. Right? With
OGs.
But by the way, with an individual who's getting married. Obviously, he's getting married, right? That we met, and I think we were in our maybe late 30s, maybe mid 30s, playing EVE, and he was just out of college, and he was in Wormholes, and we would do fleets every night. And this is how I met this individual. It's Scythe. You guys know him in our chat, right? Great guy.
He's been on the show. Previously.
Oh yeah, he used to do the show, early versions of the show and everything with us. He's a great guy. He's getting married end of March. So I won't be here at the end of March. I'll be down there. I'm actually in the wedding, but it's kind of like one of those. And by the way, he came out here for my 50th birthday like 5 years ago, right? So I'm probably gonna have to bring him some Permani sandwiches when we go down. We're gonna meet him on the way to Orlando. It's just one of those cool things about this is EVE related. One of those cool things about EVE. Somebody I met in EVE. I've known him for a really long time, and we're still friends. We live states away from each other. Right? Awesome dude. So that's where I'll be next week. Maybe we'll do a little cameo on the phone. I don't know what we're doing. I really don't know what we're doing. It's not like Eric's gonna go ride rides at Disney because Eric doesn't give a shit about rides at Disney.
I don't think it'll be a situation where he'll be too drunk to No,
we're not huge drinkers. I mean, it's not like that kind of bachelor party. It's kind of like a cool, let's have fun, do shit we like with friends party. By the way, one of the other guys that actually got me into EVE is going to be there. I'm in the wedding. This other guy isn't, but he's coming for the bachelor party. He was actually my best man. We're driving down together. But, he bought all the hotel rooms for everybody. Super nice guy, Damore. And, he's kind of setting it up. So he and I are driving down from up here. So it's at least 3 of us all met. We didn't. Damore and I went to college together, but but we all were Eve players together. So it's kind of cool. Eve thing,
I just want
to point out. I just want to point out that Erik said that Dirk's one last thing is going to take forever. And now here we are 10 minutes later, and Erik is still harking on about his last thing.
I did have a couple of last things, so mine was a little bit.
Okay.
I did want to add an addendum to it. It was,
okay, go ahead.
It wasn't just Silver Fox. It was also a guy called Skyhawk Everhart who mentioned Push to Talk as well.
There you go. Thank you guys. Thank you guys.
In that subreddit. So thank you.
All right. Well, I guess that's it for the show this week. Your premier EVE Online talk show. Push to Talk. We'll see everybody.
We didn't. Yeah.
By the way, I got a freak snowstorm last night. We weren't supposed to get snow. We got 4 inches of snow.
And we didn't talk about food, but I've been like trying to learn how to bake bread, but like that'll come next week, I guess, maybe.
Ooh, bread baking. That's nice. All right, baby. We are out of here. So bye bye. Wave bye, Soft. Be nice. Be polite.
Hey.
Don't be mean German guy. Okay? All right. Bye. That was fun. That was
fucking
fun.
Celebrity Squares again or something.
We need to do that.
Fucking wave goodbye while everyone at the end of the show. Like fucking. Oh.